Sales. Start of week 9 already in the NFL. Already week 9. Man, this NFL season is just flying. Titans and Steelers tonight. Congratulations to A.J. Brown, Player of the Month in the NFC. Cowboys and Eagles. Tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. I mean, oh, and by the way, NovaCare, this is a NovaCare alert. We have a little bit of inside the Cowboy locker room as they're getting ready for Sunday's game against Philly. NovaCare, I like it, Scott. Big Sills, dual threat, tool threat. Absolutely. But I first want to do this. You know, I was sleeping this morning, and my dad back in Virginia sent me a text this morning. Must have been about 3 o'clock in the morning. And he sent me a text. He goes, "Hey, isn't it crazy that 2 people that were in our house really were the 2 people that really started your sports career?" And I said, I texted him back, and I'm like, "Who?" He goes, "Don't you remember Bob Knight coming over to the house? He gave you your first set of weights." We had lived in Bloomington for about 3 years. I went to my first college football games at Memorial Stadium in Bloomington. I saw Indiana. Lee Corso was the head coach, believe it or not. I saw them play Washington. Then I also saw the Oak and Bucket. I remember turning to my father and going like this, "I want to do this." I saw Wisconsin. We saw a Wisconsin game that year. My dad took me to my very first college football games. And my dad had a threesome of golfers. My dad was a great golfer. He played against Nicklaus in the amateurs back in the day. He was really a great golfer. And get this, my father was friends with Jackie Robinson, friends with Bob Knight, Tony Lima, Jake LaMotta, played golf with all these guys. So we'd been around sports our entire life. Our family were friends, obviously, with the Robinson family because Jackie lived in Stanford, where I'm from. And there's Bob Knight in my house as a kid. I had completely forgotten about it. He gave me ankle weights. He gave me some free weights and such that they had at IU. And really incredible. Incredible. I mean, Bob Knight played golf with my father all the time. And he would talk to me at dinner table. And the other guy, do any of you know who George Talafero is? This was the other man in my father's threesome when they used to play golf on weekends. Do you guys know who George Talafero is? I'm not going to give you a lot of time on this because George Talafero is an important figure in football history. And many of you probably don't even know the name. George Talafero is the first African-American ever drafted in the National Football League. He went to Indiana University, and he introduced my dad to Bob Knight, and he was one of my father's dear friends. And George Talafero used to help me become a football player. And how I grew up, I can't believe. You know, it's funny. I find all these sports memorabilia items, and I remember the people that were influences in my life. And George Talafero is one of the greatest influences in my life on me being a sports person. This man was the first black guy drafted in the NFL, and people don't know him. They have no idea who he is. Tone, did you ever hear that name? Have any of you ever heard that name? Bob Knight, George Talafero And my father played golf on weekends, every weekend. That Coach Knight had a chance. We'd go to Assembly Hall, watch. We got there right after the undefeated 76 team. Okay. We got there right after the 76. I think we got there in like 78, 77. I was a young kid. I had no idea. Get this, when I met Jackie Robinson, I had no idea who he was also. And I was an even littler kid in Stanford. Gary Cobb has told you numerous times, Jackie used to show up at high school events or middle school events all the time at Stanford. I had no idea who Jackie was. And I had no idea who George Taliaferro was. And then you find out later on the significance of these men's lives. Okay? And you know what, Fly? I'll have to check on that, whether that's the Taliaferro. Like I think that kid, hey, Fly, that kid's name is Adam Taliaferro? The kid that got hurt at Penn State? I'll have to check that out. I'm not sure of that. So when Bob Knight passed away, you know, I get it, man. You know, my daughter was in a conversation with her rugby coach the other day, and they were talking about John Wooden, and the head coach had asked people out there in the crowd if anybody knew who John Wooden was. And nobody knew but Didi. Why is that? John Wooden used to send my daughter children's books that he was writing at the end of his life as she was growing up. We got a ton of John Wooden children's books down in my garage somewhere that John Wooden penned. Good luck to you, Danielle. John Wooden. So in my life, I've met John Wooden. I've met Bob Knight. I've met I've talked to these men. All influences in some way in my life. The guy who got me involved in sports broadcasting, Jim McKay. The guy that I spoke to, Roone Arledge. These are all guys that I've run into, and I have no idea. It sounds like I'm name dropping, but it's just running into people my entire life. I have no idea. I have no idea how I know these people, how I met I get reminded of how I run into these folks. Hey, Sills, a few years ago, I got to hang out with Reggie Jackson, one of my favorite ball players of all time, and show him a bunch of motorcycles and talk bikes with him for a couple hours. He's cool and down to earth. Reggie's a complex guy, one of my favorite. Reginald Martinez, Buck Jackson from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, went to Arizona State, played for Frank Kush, was on those great Arizona State teams with Rick Monday and them guys. Absolutely I know everything there is about Buck Martinez. I mean, Reggie Jackson was one of my childhood idols too. This is one of my childhood idols. DZ goes, "You are a celebrity." I don't look at myself as that. I never have. I'm a celebrity? No. I'm just fortunate to be a guy that's kind of in the business a bit. I don't look at myself as that. Hey, DZ, that means I take myself way too serious if I'm a celebrity. And I'm not really that. JM is pretty true. And hey, don't forget too, JM, Bobby Valentine. It didn't hurt that we have family members. Correct. Doesn't hurt your uncle was an NFL player and established a solid network base. Absolutely true. And Robustelli's a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Bobby V, Rangers win last night. Okay, he managed the Rangers, the Mets, the Red Sox, bunch of baseball teams. He was over in Japan. No, it did not hurt that we had a bunch of people that were in our family. Thank you, Chris. See Chris here, man. Chris gives me 50% shit and 50% pats on the back. That's the kind of man I like. That's the kind of man I like talking to. That's the kind of person I like talking to. I really do, man. I enjoy talking to you guys, and I know you have other options. And I got to tell you something else that, Jason Cole's going to be joining us later, but we're working on a project that I think is going to be one of the most revealing books in sports. It's going to kind of chronicle everything on this wacky journey. And Jason and I had a conversation about it today. I don't know if you guys know who Don Yeager is. We're going to get into football here in a minute. I promise you. By the way, we're not going to go nuts today. We're going to have some fun today. Midseason NFL awards. A.J. Brown inspired me. He inspired me, and I'm going to give you a little detail of what's going on in Dallas and what they're saying about this Sunday's matchup. Okay? Ho goes like this. What do you mean you're not going nuts? Shit, I'm out of here. Okay? Shit, I'm out of here, right? So Jason and I are going to be working on a book project. And we're kind of formulating it right now. And so I'll keep you up to date. It's going to take a couple months to get it together here, but I've been asked to do this at least 5 times. And I've always passed because some of it's a little bit kind of scary. And it's compelling for sure. Life and death. It's compelling. Okay? Cosmo goes, Sills, what do you think of Hurts walking out? Of what? The press conference? Great. There's no, you don't owe those, what do you get sick and tired? Wait, let me guess. Before you even go, I don't even know what Cosmo's talking about. Let me guess. He got tired of talking about his knee. And he got up and he walked out of the press conference. Tell me that's what happened. Please tell me that's what happened. Please tell me that is the essence of what happened. That he just got sick and tired of answering the conversations about the knee. Did a Sue epic move is right on. I am so proud of it. Hey, get this. I wish his damn coach would do that. Just get up and go like this. Just get up and walk out. They made it through the whole press conference without talking about the knee. Some asshat had the last question he decided to ask about the knee. He chuckled and just walked off. That's epic. Iconic. Great. That's exactly what you want to see your head coach do. Okay? That's exactly what I want Nick to do. When a guy asks a stupid ass question, guess what? Press conference over. Nick needs to be more of a heel. He needs to be more of a heel. Okay? Just get up and walk out on them dudes. You don't owe them guys anything. That's so classic. And by the way, it's polarizing. That to me is leadership. Hey, isn't it crazy? Jaylen, that's lead. Don't you guys look at that as leadership? That's leadership. I love Hurts. The Philly newspaper media loves to spin shit. Hey, Scott, you think? My best friend runs a sports business, so I've met a bunch of pros. One day I was having dinner and went out and go out in front to smoke, and LT was up front. He put his hand out to shake my hand. I accidentally walked past him. Oh, man. Big Sills, he laughed at the guy and walked out. That is, oh, God. Okay. You guys now officially are starting to make me like Jaylen Hurts even more. I love Jaylen Hurts today. Today, Thursday, okay, November 2nd, I love Jaylen Hurts today. Yes, sir. So wait a minute. Hey, Jaylen, how's the knee? Gets up, walks out, laughs at the guy. Mike Selke, is that who did it? He laughed at that guy. Perfect. And Mike will make a whole segment on his weekend sports radio show somewhere at WIP, and it'll be a big deal for him. By the way, I like his work. I think he's got really a lot of talent. I do. I think he's really good. He's not really a columnist because he's got a massive opinion. Anytime you do radio and you're writing for the Inquirer, you're not really a journalist. You're an opinionist. Like I told you before, you have opinions. If you're covering one side of a story, you're not a journalist. It's a form of journalism, but don't call yourself a journalist because journalists give you both sides without putting themselves in the story. Mike put himself in the story. Journalism 101, never do that. Today, that's kind of, see, journalism was with small J's today and small letters. It's not big letters like it used to be. Okay, and can I tell you this? Hey, JM, watch this. Journalism doesn't sell. You know why journalism's died? Because journalism doesn't sell. Polarizing, Pat McAfee, Big Sills. I've been doing this for 34 years, this style. And everyone, you know why people in my business don't like me? Because I've been doing this for 34 years. And back in the day when you got into this business, they despised my style. Well, everyone's doing it now. Everyone does the style that I do. I don't give a shit about right and wrong. I care about opinions and being entertaining. Then whatever falls in, falls in. Who gives a shit about that? No, journalism doesn't sell. It doesn't sell. It doesn't get your views, your clicks, your likes. Bobby V, the most heartwarming speeches of all time. Bear, love Bobby V. There's a book right there. Valentine's Way. Guy helped me in my progress on being an athlete too. Sills is the ultimate cheerleader of negativity. You know who I got? Hey, Tone. You know who I got compared to yesterday on Twitter? Angelo Cataldi. I don't usually respond to idiots on Twitter any longer because it's a nowhere battle. Kenny Gainwell, you might want to take it from Big Sills, who's lost a few gigs, answering comments on Twitter. You might not want to be on social media like Instagram and Twitter, okay? You might not. Guy goes, Sileo, all you are is you're like Cataldi. You're just a shit talker. I went, thank you. I went, thank you. Thank you very much. You compared me to the greatest sports talk host in history of Philadelphia? That's all I heard. I didn't hear shit talking. I just heard you compared me to the greatest sports caster in Philly sports history. I was like, thank you. All right. We are going to do something. Should I give you the cowboy dirt? Do you guys want to hear the cowboy dirt first? Oh my God. Here, wait. I gotta put it in order here. Wide receiver room. CD. Dak. Okay. So my friend, who's very close to the Dallas Cowboy organization. You guys want to take a guess who it is? This is unbelievable. Who do you think told me this? I'm not going to put any names out yet. Kills, can you believe that Skip Bayless and Michael Irvin said CeeDee's better than A.J. Brown? Yes. Yes. Okay, some people up here have it right. Okay, I'm not going to tell you who. So the wide receiver room, when my friend walked in, said that all the receivers can't wait to get a hold of the Eagles secondary. I was like, okay. CD's going to be played a lot in the slot. NovaCare Center, alert. CD's going to be in the slot. They don't think you can defend him in the slot. The Cowboy wide receiver room can't wait for Sunday. They don't think they can cover him. Do you know what they said about him? They're not very fast. And one of the Achilles that the Eagle defense has is overall speed in the secondary is not great. I don't think they're wrong. I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't thought they're not overly fast guys back there, especially in your safety position. These guys run around in army boots. But they don't think you're fast enough or good enough. And I said to my friend, well, it's not like your guys have been playing great outside of CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he goes, Brandon Cooks and all these guys are laughing in the team meeting rooms watching game film of the Eagles secondary guys when crossing routes are going through, running into one another, getting turned around. They're laughing at you. The Cowboy receivers are laughing at the Eagles secondary. I'm giving you this insight here because I was told this morning. They're not very fast. They can't handle crossing routes. And the safeties wasn't the word bums, but to me, it felt like they were saying are bums. I said, what about the new guy? He goes like this. And he said the whole room went, so? Oh, hey, don't. They're laughing at you. They're laughing at the Dallas Cowboys, offensive skilled people are laughing at the Eagles secondary. I swear to you, I am not making that up. They don't think you're fast back there. Don't know why Cooks is laughing. I had him in fantasy and dropped him because he's doing shit. He's a bum. Cry now, cry later. Overconfidence has always worked well for the Cowboys. Hey, James. I know this is going to be the Dallas Cowboy wide receiver group. According to my source who was there at the Cowboy complex yesterday, said the wide receiver group are laughing at the Cowboy or are laughing at the Eagle secondary. That's a fact. And I take this guy at his word. Same Cooks who got out to sleep in 2017 Super Bowl. Hey, the guy's been nobody to me in Dallas. Brandon Cooks has done shit there. I agree completely. The bum boys are going down Sunday. Not saying nothing, Tito. Dak ain't getting too. Dak has played well the last 2 weeks. Best 2 games he's played all year, in my opinion. His last 2 games, because you're seeing more mobility. I think you're going to see a little bit of that also in this game against the Eagles. Hey, get this. He's going to run more against the Eagles. He's not going to sit in the pocket. He's going to run more. Dak's going to get out in the perimeter. And you know why they said, hey, Novacare, and you know why they said that they're going to get Dak running more? Because the Eagles really haven't done a great job the last 3 weeks setting the perimeter and setting the edge. I was like, I don't know if that's all true. Cowboys have Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. Dan, I hope you got a big enough lazy boy, because they're going to be watching us in the playoffs while they chilling at the crib. Sad thing, Slay should be able to cover Lamb. I don't know. And he's no burner yet. Slay's not a fast guy either, but maybe Slay can't, which is scary. Here's the deal. I'm hearing this, is that they're going to put Gilmore on AJ. They're going to put Stephon Gilmore on AJ Brown. I'm giving you the game plan here. CD in the slot, Gilmore on AJ. Cowboy wide receivers are laughing at your secondary because they don't think they're good. I think they've gotten better. I told my friend, I think they've gotten better. They're progressively getting better because I think the D coordinator's getting better. They asked me if I thought he'd bring pressure. And I said, I don't know, because I don't know what they're going to do and how they're going to play the corners. So I couldn't give a definitive answer of how I thought I can't tell you how many times, as a sports talk radio host for 25 years, how many times teams from around the league would call me and go, how do you think they'll defend us? Gilmore and AJ, oh my God, barbecue alert. AJ going for 200 yards. All right. Cowboys secondary's good. Their secondary's good. Their secondary is better than yours, and you know this. You won't want to admit it, but it is. And by the way, this isn't Jaylen going against the Commander defense. This is a different deal here. And I think they're going to have to fight the biggest thing that they fight, and that's their own egos. To me, Jaylen Hurts threw the ball 25 times in this game. I think they blow him out. If Jaylen Hurts throws the ball 35, 45 times in this game, it'll be a one-possession game again and close. And I think they have to fight that. Their angst to want to throw the ball so much has created turnovers and close games. Am I wrong? Seals, look out for Eli Ricks in the slot. Okay. That could make sense. That could make sense. So, hey, but if you were to tell me, Sills, what's the advantage on defense for the Eagles? Pressure against the run. What's the weakness? The scheme and the linebackers and the safeties. If you take away Brown, then you got to worry about Julio Jones. I don't believe they're worried about Julio Jones. The two dudes I'm worried about are Devontae. Here are the guys on offense I'm worried about. I'm not worried about even DeAndre Swift. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about Goddard getting up on them Cowboy linebackers. I told Dan Quinn that too. I said, if I were you, if you don't have a linebacker in the building that could cover that guy, if they go to him and I would not be shocked if Goddard has the game of the year. I said, you don't have a guy in the building that could cover him. See, to me, the mismatch is this. AJ on Stephon Gilmore and them Cowboy linebackers on Dallas Goedert. I don't see it. And you're not getting enough pressure on the quarterback. They're not getting enough pressure. Okay? They're not. Cowboys are takeaway monsters, dude. And I would also put it out there this. You see, the kid that's taking over for Diggs, he'll be able. I don't think he'll be able to handle Devontae, but that'll be a nice matchup. I think that kid's played great. I think that kid's played great this year. I think he's the co-leader, and I think doesn't he have 3 pick sixes? Am I right? That kid's got 3 pick sixes this year, right? I think he's got more touchdown catches than the entire tight end group in Dallas. Doesn't he have 3 pick sixes? This kid's got 3 touchdowns. He's got more touchdowns than any running back you have. That's how good that guy's played. That's crazy. Shit, he's got more touchdowns. He might have as many touchdowns as Tony Pollard. Okay? See, if they play off the ball and you don't get home like you didn't last week against the Commanders, Dak's going to have a field day. Now, some of you went like this. Well, Sills, what do you think that the Dallas Cowboy offense is better than the Miami Dolphin offense? I think they're way more finesse than the Dallas Cowboy offense. That's like saying this. Dan, don't you think the Miami Dolphin offense is better than the Commanders? What was the one thing the Commanders were able to do? They were able to win first and second down. So I just need you to pick Cowboys, please. I'll do that tomorrow, not today. If the Harris, if the Eagles don't get home, then it'll look like the Commander game. And if Dallas is 18th in sacks. Eagles are 6th. Hassan, equalizer. Reddick will eat. See, those stats are misleading. Byard first interception with Eagles. Ricks holds CeeDee Lamb under 100. Look at what he said, that the Eagles are 6th in sacks. Okay, then why is your pass defense sucking if you're 6th in sacks? That means you're still getting home, but you're not at the same rate you did a year ago. AJ destroyed the Cowboys. Best corner, Diggs. Last year, Dak Prescott threw for 5 touchdowns and 375 yards or 354, whatever it was, against the number 2 defense in the NFL last year. Remember, Hurts doesn't play corner. How's the numbers misleading? Here's why. If you get 2 sacks in a game, but you're not getting any pressure, if you get 2 sacks and the rest of the game you get no pressure, which you didn't in the Commander game, that's how you surrender 500 yards and 31 points. And your secondary gets eaten alive. You tell me if that's not misleading then. You got home with 1 sack. Critical. But the Commanders threw for 400 yards on you. Put up 31 points. Had 500 yards in total offense. You think you're getting home? Sills, if you were our DC, how would you attack them? Let me write that down. I want to attack the Cowboys. And defensively attack the Cowboy offense. We're going to have some fun here in a minute. No Jalen Carter, no Jordan Davis. Wasn't it our second team defense? How could that have been your second team defense in that game last year? That wasn't your second team defense. The only guy that was missing, in my opinion, if I'm not mistaken, right, Tone? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Gardner Johnson was the only guy missing back there in that game. And on the offensive side, obviously, Jaylen could have had more when it came to giving the opportunities for the Cowboys not to have more drives and more opportunities. With longer sustained drives, you limit Dak's throws when you have sustained drives. Minshew was terrible in that game. Okay? No excuses. Dak ate him alive last year. Yes, Eagles were missing 2 starting DBs. Now, again, that's an Eagle problem, not the Cowboys problem. Again, the injuries is why we talk about the league being a 1-week storyline. Can I tell you before we move on here, what makes the Eagles so much better than the Cowboys and how they approach a season? The Cowboys are looking to go 13-4. You know what the Eagles are looking to do? They're looking to go 1-0 every week. That is such a great way to look at it. You're trying to pile up as many 1-0 weeks as possible. You're not looking to go 13-4. You're not looking to go 14-3. You're looking at 1-0 weeks. 1-0. 1-0. 1-0. If you have that mentality, you'll never have a team creep up on you. When you start looking down the calendar and start looking at the schedule, that's when you fall into ups and downs in your season. Oh, we got this guy this week. Oh, we got that guy next. You can't. You have to go with 1-0 every week. Every week, you're trying to go 1-0. Dallas looks down the line. Hey, we got Philly coming up in 2 weeks. Dude, who cares? Who's in front of you now? That's how you get knocked out. That is how you get knocked out. Jaylen Hurts didn't play against Dak last year. And Dak didn't play against Jaylen also. He missed a game and Cooper Rush played. Apply your comments to you too. Jesus criminy. How can you have talk out of one side of your mouth like that when you bring up these things? We didn't play with 2 DBs, and I'm not saying you, Tone. The 49ers are not playing with Trent Williams and Debo, okay? That's part of the whole thing too. Is this Dak's last year? I think there's some conversation to this because we know he's not ever going to win a Super Bowl in Dallas. You know, I've said this before, Death Row. I like Dak Prescott. I do. And I think he's going to win a Super Bowl. I just don't think he's going to do it in Dallas. I think he's going to do it somewhere else. I'll tell you this, man. If that guy Purdy doesn't continue to get better and he doesn't come out of this funk here, if I were the 49ers, I would try to get Dak Prescott. Put Dak on that team. Then he has a chance to win a Super Bowl with a coordinator and everything around him. Structure a contract like you got with Jaylen. Put Dak on that Niner team. Shit, if you put Dak or Jaylen on that Niner team, Jaylen would be in the same situation he is right now in Philly as he would be, but they would be better in San Francisco because Jaylen is the miss. Do you know Jaylen Hurts is I thought about this last night. Jaylen Hurts is the missing link in San Francisco. He's the missing link. Okay? He's the missing link. You put him on that Niner team, they're 16-1 because they're not playing. I don't mean that because they're better. I mean it because they don't play anybody tougher like the Eagles are this year. Hey, and I'll say it one more time. If that Eagle team finishes this season 14-3 or 13-4, they had a better year than last year because this season is filled with tougher teams. You're getting into this stretch run right now. Okay, where we're going to find out a whole bunch. Do you know the complete narrative of the Philadelphia Eagles can change in the next month? Good or bad, like it did for San Francisco? I mean, look at the games you have coming up. Dak, Josh Allen, who else? Mahomes. Niners are on the other side, and then Dallas again. This is it. This is to find out whether you're going to win the Super Bowl in the next month and a half. Seattle, too. That's going to be a funny trip up there. Hey, don't be shocked you go up there, get blown out. It's a tough-ass trip. Will it change my opinion of the Eagles? Of course not. Week-to-week proposition. Then you put it all together and you say, who's the best? Who looks like they can handle? Hey, whether you lose, like, now look, I'll tell you what, because San Francisco's lost 3 in a row. They're in a bye, that's right. Because San Francisco has lost 3 in a row. That's becoming a trend. That's becoming a problem. You got to stop that. And what I don't like about Buffalo, there's too many peaks and valleys there for a championship team. I'll tell you what, if I was on the air in Buffalo, I'd be kicking the shit out of them. You can't play like that, guy. You've got to play better and more consistent. I thought his last game against the Bucs, he was sensational. Josh Allen was the most efficient I've ever seen him throw the ball. And I'll tell you why. You know what they did? They went no huddle. They got him in a rhythm. Self-described rhythm. It's going to be interesting to see if they do that against Cincinnati this weekend. They did something for the first time with Josh Allen that I hadn't seen Ken Dorsey do. And even when Brian Daboll was there, I didn't see him do this. They went no huddle, quick snaps, quick rhythm pacing, and it helped him. He was probably the most efficient I've ever seen him throw a football in any game he's ever played. Okay, he was absolutely unbelievable. Josh Allen, insane great. And they put him in a system. I don't know if they're going to keep doing that again. Hey, somebody help me up with the D coordinator's name in Cincinnati, who's very underrated, by the way. It escapes me. Is it Donatel? I don't think it's Donatel. I forget the guy's name. Who's the D coordinator in Cincinnati? He's really good. And he doesn't get the credit. He doesn't get the credit that, you know, a lot of coordinators get. It's probably because he's in Cincinnati. But he's a really good coordinator. So it's going to be interesting to see how they combat that when they start going to the Bills. Yeah, that's it. Lou is such a great coordinator and doesn't get the love. Thank you, JM. Really good. Yes, Big Pickin'. Now, that's the best I've seen Allen. So, just to recap here's what they're knowing what I know what the Cowboys are going to try to do now. And it was vaguely told to me this morning, having talked to everybody in the organization, from upper management to former players to a couple coaches I know on the staff. There's no doubt you're going to see a lot. I don't know if they'll start him there, but you're going to see a lot of CeeDee Lamb in the slot. They don't think you can defend him in the slot. And I said this, I think you guys, and I didn't say this to Cowboy guys because I want to be able to pick the phone up again. But I said this to a former player. I said, you guys think this guy CeeDee Lamb is better than Terry McLaurin? And of course they jumped on me and said, of course we do. And I'm like, if you put Terry McLaurin in the Dallas Cowboy uniform, they're almost the same player, but Terry McLaurin's tougher. I disagree with that. I think Terry McLaurin doesn't have – I'm starting to like Sam Howell. I think he's the answer in D.C. I think he's more the answer in D.C. than what Jordan Love is in Green Bay. I think he's more the answer there. Okay? I think he's more of the answer. I like Sam Howell. He's tough. The guy made some great throws. Suspect O-line. This guy really did a great job. I do not believe that CeeDee Lamb is better than Terry McLaurin. I'm with you, Devin. I'd take Terry McLaurin any day, any night over Lamb. I think Lamb – hey, look, if you put CeeDee Lamb in Arizona, I don't know. Is he T. Higgins? Is he T. Higgins? Terry McLaurin's a really good ball player, and you held him, what was it, 88 yards, 99 yards? What was it? Lamb chop. I like that. Lamb chop. Here's how I think it goes down. I haven't listened to these guys. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure that those corners are going to be back off the ball again. How do you do that? You're going to do everything in your power to try to run them down the field first. You're going to spread them out immediately. Mike McCarthy, staple, he's a West Coast style guy. What do they like to do right out of the gate? They want to spread you out, and they want to spread the defense out as much as possible. Why? Creating passing lanes. That tight end, Ferguson, 25 catches, I think Tone told me the other day. They're going to try to establish him like Washington established their tight end. Remember something. Suspect O-line. You know, you guys are talking about the kid Smith not playing. You played against one of the worst O-lines in the National Football League last week, and you got there one time with very little pressure all game. So don't be talking about sacking the quarterback and that you're going to kill Dak when you couldn't kill Sam Howell. So you got to take this on a week-to-week proposition here. Just because you think you're better than the Cowboy O-line, you got to prove it. You didn't last week. You were not very good in pass rushing. You did not have a good day in pressure. They put CeeDee Lamb in the slot last time they played us. Sidney Brown is going to lay the wood on the kid. Death row. He'll run right by him. Smash that like button for Big Sills. Death row. Sidney Brown has no chance at defending CeeDee Lamb. He over pursues. He's not a good tackler. He's got to calm his game down. That's why they went and got a safety. Because he's not ripe yet. He's going to be. I'm a fan of his. I like the kid. I believe in Dean Desai. I think he will coach a great game. Nakobe Dean will be a liability on the field. They already know this. They're going to attack him every time he's on the field. And if he's got the green dot, plays into the Cowboys' game plan. And again, this is ego stuff from the front office that I tell you about to keep an eye on. Nakobe Dean will not have a good game. I'm confident in saying that. Why? He hasn't had the reps. It's not because he's not good. He's not up to game speed yet. How many times did he play behind the player? How many times was he chasing in that Commander game? Every play. Still, he made 12 tackles. Again, the most idiotic conversation that you can hear anybody who doesn't understand the game. He had 12 tackles. How could you honestly think you had a good game when you gave up 500 yards in offense? They targeted you, and you gave up 31 points. And Sam Howell was the guy throwing the ball. And you're going to call yourself that you had a good game? How? It wasn't like the Commanders ran the shit out of the ball on him. They threw the ball at the linebackers and secondary with a suspect O-line. I meant to say Sean Desai. Got you. Desai and Dean covering McLaurin on some plays. That's why he took the blame. You don't put Nakobe Dean on Terry McLaurin. That should have been a switch. See, Desai's covering for a linebacker, not recognizing the play. Right there, what that guy just said, okay? That guy right there, what he said, shows you again that the coach is covering for someone. He didn't recognize it. You need to have a safety come down and have a shot at covering him, or a corner or a slot corner coming down, not a linebacker who struggles in coverage. Let's be smart here. Okay? And by the way, is that a talent issue? Kind of, but not really. It's a repetition issue. He just hasn't seen enough plays. How many plays do you think that Kobe Dean has played in his NFL career? Under 200? And you think he's going to line up against CeeDee Lamb and Lamb in the slot and cover him? Really? I'll take that gamble. I mean, I don't know if that guy's had 200 snaps. Does Michael Parsons disappear in this game? Hey, it's about time for this guy to step up and do some shit. I completely said this to my friend with the Cowboys today. How come every time I turn on a game film, I watch Hassan Reddick killing guys on the Cowboys, making plays every single game, putting a dot on a game, putting an exclamation point, and every time I watch your guy in big games, he is a no-show. That guy's like Casper the Ghost. Check out Philly Film Room for defensive analysis. Michael Parsons has to he has to show up in a game like this. I'll tell you this, man. This is a game that's really going to be a nationally highlighted football game. Okay? A nationally highlighted football game. Maurice goes, Dean was great. I know a lot of people in here think he was. He was pathetic. I mean, it was pathetic. Cunningham and Morrow deserved to play. I would play them almost the entire game. I would not put him in there. Would not put him in there. This game, here, let me tell you why it's important to these certain players. If you really want to be an 88, if you really want to be an 88, okay, you got to show up in games like Sunday. You want to make your reputation like Pearson and Dez and Michael and all those great players. You got to show up on Sunday. You know why it's important for AJ? This is what AJ wants compared to CeeDee Lamb. AJ wants to win and the numbers. He's greedy like Tone is. He wants, like, he don't just want one sheep. He wants them all. He wants it. That's the guy I want. I want everything too. I want the fame. I want the fortune. I want the win. And you can put it in any order you want. I look at it in any order. I just happen to say it that way. But I want all three of those things. Dallas secondary ranking is misleading. You're a Warrior. You are not better than the Dallas Cowboys secondary. You are not better. I don't care how you slice it up. Your safeties are not very good. Now, Byard, I think it's better on a week-to-week basis. Blankenship he made one play last week. He was getting turned around. His worst game of the year was last week. Okay? And plus the corners. Slay's nicked up. Bradbury was terrible. Do you defer or receive if you're the Eagles? Oh, I'd put my defense on the field. I put my defense on the field and come right at Dak and say, we're going to hit you. And by the way, I want to punch CeeDee Lamb right in the face. You know what I would do too, man? Maybe you do line up Sidney Brown over him. And what you do is you take a 15-yard penalty and you just smash that guy in the line of scrimmage. All day, bitch. All day. Remember me. You better bring your lunch pail. You better bring your lunch pail. You know the miner's hat with the little light on it? You're going to work, dude. You're going to work. That's how we used to talk, man. Hey, better put your miner's cap on. Bring a lunch bucket. You better have some hot cocoa in there because you're going to be here a bit. You're going to be here a bit. We're going to work. Hey, man, we're going to find out who you are. We're going to play 60. Used to be my big thing. They used to post this all the time in the Miami Herald. Time to stop lipping and start hitting. I'll post that on my Twitter from the Miami Herald. I used to say that all the time. Time to stop lipping and start hitting. Let's go. Let's go play 60. That was my theme every week. I did all my lipping, and then it was time to go hitting. Time to go play. That's the thing about that meat and potatoes Philadelphia Eagle team that I just admire. Ain't no flash about anything. It's about Coney kicking your ass. You may beat me, man, but you ain't beating me up. Cowboys can get beat up. I hate that kind of guy. You can get beat up. Hey, I may have lost a fight in my day. I might not remember it, but I'll tell you what, I never got my ass kicked ever. That ain't happening. Okay. Greg Williams' defense? What, do you put up bounties on guys? Sills, we get you picking Cowboys this week. No, be quiet. Hey, DZ, it's so true what Tyson says. This is so true. Hey, man, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in their face. And you want to see that plan disintegrate like a person's character? You hit a guy in the head. A guy just starts melting in front of you. It's a wonderful thing to witness and feel as a man. How come Bradbury's been so trashy? Because it's the volume of pressure that's not getting there that hit a lot of the play last year. You see, like that one stat that you guys showed, they're sixth in sacks, but the volume is down in pressures and in sack numbers, which means this. You have more opportunity for plays to develop downfield than you did a year ago. If you're getting more pressure like you did a year ago and more sacks, right? You don't have a chance on a 20-yard inseam or a 15-yard inseam to develop. Last year, if you're getting home quick and guys are getting there, guys are hitting the quarterback's holding the ball less, you have a lesser chance of that play developing, which means this, you can play 10 yards off the ball. This year, you're not getting home. He had 1 sack in the Commander game and very little pressure. That's why he threw for 400 yards on you. You turn around and you look, we're sixth in sacks. Well, then how does a guy like Mac Jones throw for over 300 yards on you? How does Sam Howell? These are guys still developing as quarterbacks in this league. These are not special players. And they had career games versus you. Why? Volume of pressure's down. Do you know the only thing saving that defense's ass is the run defense? It's the run defense. Okay? Why is Slay and Bradbury looking slow? Is it just age? It could be a little bit of that, Kenneth. And this is what the Cowboys were saying to me or to my friend. They don't think there's a lot of speed back there in the secondary. And it's not quite an Achilles, but it's noticeable now. They're just not fast guys back there, especially in your center field positions of Free and Strong. You're not fast there. You're old along the backside of your defense now. Your corners are in their 30s. You got a safety in his 30s, and they're not fast. And when you're not fast and you're off the ball, this is why they play off the ball. You can't get on the line of scrimmage with a dude that runs a 4.3 or a 4.4 and expect Slay or Bradbury to cover that. He gets one hitch and he gets free up the sideline. Dak will have a 75-yard touchdown pass. That's the biggest fear you have in that style of defense they play. You ever notice there's not a lot of big-time plays made against that secondary because they defend over-the-top plays. They're more concerned with over-the-top plays, plus 25 passes completed, they'll give you 15, 20, 10. They'll give you 10 or 15 of those in a game. Those 10-yard slants, they don't care about that shit because they think the quarterbacks in this league, especially the ones they've played up to this point, are going to make a mistake. Get this. Howell played great. They didn't here. Hey, Tone, still no Hooter. I'm sure we'll work on it, Wheels. Thank you. Hey, get this. Do you know what the Eagles didn't count on last week? How to play that great. But the one thing he did do, he did the one thing they knew he would do. He'd make a mistake in a ball game with an overthrow. And he did. And it was in a time in the game that was a critical part in the game in the fourth. They thought he'd probably make at least 3 of those plays because of the amount of sacks that they've been giving up, the inability to run the ball, and the inability in the pass game. But you didn't get home. You played off the ball. He had a career game. And that's why the Commander game was close. That's exactly how that played out. Hey, did I think Sam Howell would throw for 400? Absolutely. If I was Sean Desai and I was game planning after what I've seen in trends that guy had coming into the game, I'm not saying I was surprised, but I was saying this. Holy cow, man. This guy here played a career game. Hey, it's the NFL. These guys get paid too. You were surprised, but you shouldn't be unexpecting anything in the league. They're pro football players. Okay? They're pro players. They're going to make plays. He made they thought he'd make 3 of those plays. Get this. If Sam Howell makes 3 of those interception-type plays, that game's a different story. They didn't count on him looking like that. What they're doing defensively is pretty remarkable, given the issues they have with no speed back. Well, not no speed, but not high-volume speed guys back there. And experience and injuries. I think the guy's done a better job this year than Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon would be a train wreck this year. He could never – he would be a train wreck this year as a DC of that unit. Seals, if you were to decide, who would you put in the slot? I might put Ricks in there. But before we take a time out here, here's because someone asked me the question. I want to address it. And they go, Seals, how would you attack the Cowboy defense? I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist when you look at how bad they are against the run. I think you challenge it. Now, here's my issue. Do the Eagles really think that you can handle 25 carries with DeAndre Swift? Do you want to give him a high workload this week? Okay. You're going into a bye. Do you want to give him a high work volume? I would, because I got a bye on the other end of this. Okay? I would want to put him at a high 25 carries. And if I'm in the red zone, I'm sick and tired of, if you don't want to run Jaylen in the red zone and you don't want to do the brotherly shove from the 5-yard in, I would do that 3 plays in a row. But since the quarterback, you're worried about his knee, throw those jump passes with Julio and AJ. I have a better chance of doing that than what they've been doing all year long so far in 8 games. I think their safeties are good. I don't want to get into a back and forth shootout with them because a couple 3-and-outs, it keeps the Cowboys in it. You know, why would you do something to an opponent to help him fight you? You know what I mean? Why would you help them by not attacking a weakness? Hey, Sills, I may be crazy, but may I have your opinion on this? Would it look good if you have Cunningham and Sidney Brown side by side and have Ricks in the slot? I never understood two linebackers. You're talking more like a Wolverine or Roverback. Martin, don't think like a creative DC. No, hey, my friend, don't ever think that anything's crazy when you're talking about schemes. It's how the 46 was developed. It's how the wide tackle 6 was developed. It's how flex was developed. It's how the bear front was developed. When people started going around, moving players around, the Ravens defense, the Buccaneer defense, John Lynch was more like a linebacker than a safety. So nothing's wrong. It's called being creative. Okay? So you're never wrong. Now, I'm not saying everything works, but everything could be discussed when it comes to putting the best personnel out to match up against the team you're playing. So when you say this is crazy, I don't think anything's crazy. When you're talking about a defensive scheme that you're looking to stop your opponent with, nothing's off the table. Not everything has to be 43, 34, wide 9s, 7s. Kane's G defense. It doesn't have to all be that always. It could be things that you could look at Gang Green. Gang Green, do you know what Gang Green was? Gang Green was a combination of 43, 34, and the 46. You realize that. It was a combination. And for the record, before Derek Brooks even got into the league, you know who set the standard on the linebacker that could fill the gap and also cover in coverage? Was Seth Joyner. Derek Brooks was a guy who benefited from the style of play that Seth Joyner played, so that when Monty Kiffin put the defense along with Tony Dungy and Tampa together, they wanted a style of linebacker like Seth Joyner. That's where when Derek Brooks got drafted, he was 6'2", 205. He was more of a safety at Florida State. Come on, Seals. You don't think the design QB run up the gut on 3rd and long in the red zone is a great play call? I see again. What I'm saying is, if you're on the goal line and you're not scoring and you're having issues right now, and teams are in, hey, what's the biggest goal line play? What's the biggest red zone play right now the Eagles have that every team in the NFL fears? It's simple. You go with your best. It'd be like Jabbar saying, I'm going to do a 20-footer instead of the sky hook. Don't you go with what's best? Why would you go? What's the best play that the Eagles have in the goal in red zone? It's the brotherly shove. It's not any other design play. It's their best red zone play. Or a jump ball to AJ. I would be running so many variations of that brotherly shove. The league would hate me. And by the way, they started a version of it this past weekend against the Commanders. I love that idea. It was like, hey, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that like the first time in 2 years that they faked it and went around the edge? I don't remember them doing that. That's even better. Now, get this as a D coordinator. Now, you put something else on that play. Do you see what they're doing with that play? They're now developing an offense off that one play. God forbid they get another one. What's another one? The Tebow jump to the tight end, to Goddard? Is that going to be another? So if you get 3 plays off that brotherly shove, is that an offensive scheme in a red zone that you would be willing to run? You know that play that Tebow used to run at Florida, where he would take it, jump up, and throw it to the tight end? So Jaylen, instead of running, he pretends like he's going to run. He jumps back and throws it, and there's Goddard there when everyone's going forward. That's the next play. So hey, You got a guy going wide, then you're going to start throwing passes off it. Then you'll never be able to defend it. Okay? That you would never be able to defend that. They had a pass play, but Jaylen tripped. God forbid it, because if I'm a coordinator, you start running play designs off that thing. Shit, man. And if you did take that play away, the only person and people you'd be affecting would be Philly. Philly's designing plays off that thing now. I love that. I went like this. I laughed when they ran around. Who ran around the end? Gainwell? I was like this. That is wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. All right. Hey, Jason Cole's going to join us at 5:30. Our friend Tone's going to join us at the bottom of the hour here. Oh, with Swift? Okay. Tone said Gainwell would have screwed it up. Yeah, okay. Hey, by the way, make sure you see the code word that we throw out with our great friends at Hooters, 40th anniversary. What a great weekend this is going to be. It's Cowboy Week. All you have to do is send us your information at dansileoshow@gmail.com. Tone's going to throw a code word out. You'll see it. You send us your information. Tomorrow will be your last day. Today and tomorrow, your last day is to qualify. Monday, on a football Monday, we name you. We give you an opportunity to win yourself some gift certificates like Michael and Herman. It's been a grand slam for us, man. We so appreciate everyone at Hooters. And by the way, it is now Happy Wingsgiving. That's right. For the month of November, Hooters and the iconic Hooter girls are doing something for all of you here. All kinds of great specials when you go into any one of the facilities. 7 facilities from Rhode Island all the way down through King of Prussia. I mean, just absolutely every single day for the month of February or month of November, they're going to be giving you opportunities at great specials. Ice cold Coors Light drafts, $2.99, 25% or 25 cents of every single purchase will go to a local charity as well. The Hooter calendars 2024 are out. Bunch of the girls too, I think 9 of them from the locations are featured in the national Hooters calendars, $100 in gift certificates in all of these calendars as well. Go to northeasthooters.com. That's northeasthooters.com. Lunch specials, I mean, boneless wings, 11:30 to 3, happy hour, Monday through Friday, 4 to 6, 6 items, $6. Get the fried pickles. You'll absolutely love it. Seafood Sundays, half price. Buffalo shrimps are my favorite. Military Mondays, 20% off of every single man and woman who ever served in our great military gets the opportunity to benefit from that. Tuesdays, 10 wings, 10 boneless free. Okay? Wing Wednesdays, one of the great traditions, 40-year tradition, 1983. That's the price. That's the year the place was founded. NortheastHooters.com. That's NortheastHooters.com. And do me a favor. When you roll into any one of them, tell them Big Sil sent you.
Football and Hooters, the